Hey everybody, welcome to another great Zennie62 on YouTube and Oakland News Now and Zennie62 Media Universe live stream, this time with a Zennie62 Media legend.
YouTube and Oakland News Now and Zennie62 Media
long
Universe.
time, yeah, long
live
time
stream,
friend,
this
long
time with
friend.
a Zennie62 Media legend.
And
YouTube.
And Melissa, first of all, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. A, and B, how are you doing? And all that good stuff. Yeah.
Thank you for having me again. I'm doing well. Just craziness these days, but it is what it is. Can't do anything about it.
Before we talk about sports in Baltimore, and talk to me about Baltimore and your life in the context of this pandemic. How are you? How are you doing? How are you coping? You know, and we've talked about it off the phone, but as much as you care to share publicly, or yeah, what do you think about things? How are things going?
I mean, I've been like isolating this entire time. I mean, it was kind of like a forced isolation at first when everything was locked down, but then I'm very paranoid about everything. So I've just decided that I am going to stay away from everyone. And so I've been basically like social distancing at home. I'm thankful that I work from home. Like they're doing a gradual, like a phase in for people who return to the office. But hopefully I'll be able to work from home at least until the end of the year. So that'll be helpful. But it's just, I mean, it's challenging, like being alone all the time. And it's just, yeah, I mean, work keeps me sane because it gives me something to do.
Yeah.
And try and like find like other things to do. Like I'm reading more, trying to watch more documentaries, engage my brain a little more just because there's nothing on TV. The news stresses me out. So, and there's no sports.
Yeah.
Well, there might be soon. Still not sold that they're actually going to happen.
Which leads me to our main conversation. How do Baltimore fans, and you're a super fan, I regard, think that we're going to have sports? We got baseball coming up, right?
Yeah, supposed to. Well, I'm one that's like, when I see it, I'll believe it. Like they've started what I think they're calling it summer camp, because it's not spring training anymore. But I just feel like every time you turn around, you hear about a player who tested positive or who had tested positive and now is like returning to the summer camp. So I don't know. And the same thing with the basketball, the bubble. It's who knows what will be. And I don't know that once it starts that it's going to continue.
Yeah.
Like there's also a chance that they may start a season and then have to stop at some point. Like, we obviously don't know what will be, but yeah, just kind of taking that one day at a time and seeing what will happen.
Are the Orioles, the Orioles, like everybody else, you can't have fans in the stands, right?
No.
Wow. So it's like a studio game.
It's weird. Although the O's actually did have that game, it was 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was during the riots, that they had a game where there were no fans. They did not allow any fans into the stadium. So they probably the only team that's ever had a game with no fans.
Well, how do you
now?
That's why I want to see how they actually do that. I really do.
Yeah, it's wild. I actually have watched a little bit of some of the Premier League. Not a lot. I don't sit there and watch the whole game, but I watched a little just out of curiosity because those games they're playing them with no fans, but they pipe in like sound, the crowd noise, at least like on the TV. So it was kind of interesting listening to the piped in cheering and then the commentators. It's different.
Hey, Rocky Mountain, we have a guest here. Rocky Mountain, we have a guest, Melissa. Rocky Mountain, PJ, meet Melissa. Melissa, meet PJ. PJ is a veteran on this show. He has been a vlogger. He is a commentator. He lives outside of Denver, I believe, in Aurora, Colorado. So PJ, we're here to great to see you, per se, and we're talking Baltimore sports. Just so if you have any questions, PJ, you want to type in, you can do so short like that. See, as he says, good to see you both this evening.
Hi.
That's my new trick. Like that. Yeah. Then he said before that, hey, Melissa. And then he said, hey, Z. So, yeah. And he doesn't mean Jay-Z. So, yeah. So, boom. No, I like that. I like that. So, regarding Baltimore sports. Oh, he lives in he says, here we go. This is his question to you. Do you think no fans will impact how the Ravens play? And same thing for you, Zennie. If there are no fans in Las Vegas, will that impact the Raiders play? That's a good question. What do you think, Melissa?
I don't know. I think it might have a little bit of an effect. I mean, the one thing is like there'll be no home team advantage for any team anymore because, well, I shouldn't say that. Some teams I guess they'll have more fans in the stands. Like, and we don't know what like the final ruling will be, but I think the Ravens said that it would be like 14,000 fans they would allow in. And so I don't know. I feel like having like less noise, less crowd cheering might play in. But it's I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like I won't be one of the fans. If there is, assuming there's a season and fans can definitely go to the game, I will not go. I will not be a part of that. I will watch at home.
I think for Las Vegas and for the NFL and also for Atlanta, having no fans in the stands makes it more of an even game. And it's because you're talking about your normal areas of the place where you, as the home team, know where your family is. You know where your longtime diehard fans are. People don't post signs like they used to in the past, right? But which I think is sad. But still, you know where the black hole is. In Las Vegas, there will be no black hole because there won't be the black hole there. Black hole is people, you know. And not only that, I always felt the black hole would not be the same because of the cost. The black hole is known for being blue collar and poor. I mean, let me put it this way: black hole seats at the Raiders Stadium were not supposed to be the high income seats. They were supposed to be the seats for the people. All right. And when you don't have the people there, they've got no place where the player, after scoring a touchdown, say Josh Jacobs, can leap into the stands. In fact, I don't think the stadium's seating is low enough to allow him to leap in the stands like you could in the Coliseum. A lot of things they're going to miss. Okay. So that's a big issue right there. And I think, I piggyback on what Melissa was saying as far as the desirability, factor. If I could put it that way, right, Melissa? And it's a studio game. It'll become a game. I think a pure game. That is okay. It'll be a better matchup of personnel because you have just a little less to deal with in terms of the fans and the noise and somebody running out into the field or maybe a squirrel running out there, or maybe a black cat or something like that, right? You could still, in fact, now that I think about it, maybe they ought to engineer that in just to keep people interested. I mean, someone watching me say that would say, "Wait, they don't like football anyway." But you want to hold the attention of the casual fan, right? what better way to do that than, hey, black cat on the field? Everybody's like, you know. So, or a squirrel, or a chipmunk, you know, or a jaguar would be pretty scary. That would be, that would be Jacksonville Jaguars bring actual jaguar onto field to make things spicy for no fans NFL. Just, I mean, you know, it could happen, right? But all this does lead me to the major question, I think, for me, of her, and that is primarily this: Will Lamar Jackson score a $500 million contract, considering what just happened to Patrick Mahomes? Is Mark? I keep saying Mark. I don't know why I keep saying Mark. You know why? Because when I think of this is Mark Ingram's fault. Because when I think of Lamar Jackson, I think of Mark Ingram talking about him.
Oh, right.
You know, it's like, it is great. He won't shut up about him, but it's like so etched in my freaking skull that when I think of Lamar Jackson, I think of Mark Ingram. See, I've actually melded them together. I was about to call him Lamarck Jackson, right?
That's funny.
I mean, they just like symbiotically linked. It's like, oh my Lord. It's so, I'm trying to separate the two of them in my brain. They're so tightly woven together. It actually hurts my brain to try. It's like, oh, help me, I need aspirin. Oh my Lord. Anyway. What do you think about that? I mean, is he worth $500 million?
Oh my God. I can't even wrap my head around Mahomes getting paid that much. It's just, but it's entertaining to me because I just think back to, not comparing it, but when Flacco, he risked, he took a gamble on his contract and like his career, basically played out that last season. That's when they won the Super Bowl. And then the Ravens gave him the contract extension. And at that time, he was the highest paid quarterback. And there were a lot of people who were just like up in arms about that. Like, oh my God, how can you pay him that much? It's crazy. You know, like, he's not worth it. And my stance was, he earned it. What were they going to do? They couldn't let him walk, so they had to pay him. But that was crazy at that time. This is even crazier. But the thing is like, this is a 10-year contract. Like, anything could happen between now and 10 years. That's just insane. So I have a hard time fathoming that. And then when people have asked, like, as soon as this all broke, I did see on Twitter, like, Lamar was trending. And I didn't read what was trending because I just didn't feel like reading people's comments about all that. And like, I don't even know if there's going to be a season. Look, we're going to have a football season this year. So I can't think about the future right now. But that's just to think how much Lamar could get. But I think, like, as of now, Mahomes won a Super Bowl. Lamar hasn't won a playoff game. I love Lamar, but he needs to win a playoff game.
Yeah.
And there was actually, I saw a little clip of an interview with Lamar because they were just asking him, about like what he thought about all this, and he was just like, he's like, I need to win a Super Bowl. He knows, like,
he knows,
to command this money, he needs to win a Super Bowl. He MVP last season, which was awesome. He had a great season, but it's like he's got to keep that up. At least his performance, and get to the playoffs, win a playoff game. It's a process. He's gotta step it up.
You think the Ravens defense could help out a little bit,
They did beef up the defense this offseason. So like that will hopefully help things. But it's God. I mean, these two he had a great season. And then there was a playoff game that was just crazy. It was so painful. But it was like deja vu. It was like the same thing that happened previous season when they made the playoffs and got killed by the Chargers.
Yeah, I hated every second of the second half of that thing, because what bothered me about that game was it seemed like the Ravens went into the championship game thinking, well, you know what? We can use our standard base package and that will work. And it's like they forgot that, hey, you know what? This is the playoffs, and you have to go in with something that you didn't do before and not assume that they can't stop your base stuff. And it's like they went in with this arrogance, like, and what I mean by the base is that dive play out of the pistol. It's like it's a dive play fake, and then Lamar can run around the end. He can either hand it off or run around.
Mm-hmm.
They do that all the time, and they kept doing a steady diet of it with their variations. And I thought, well, all right, they're ready for that. And you would think after the entire season, the Ravens would have crafted some set of plays that punished defenses for being ready for that. Because to be ready for that, you have to play up close. You have to play at least one safety high to watch out for Lamar. So where's your play action with to Brown at the backside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like roll Lamar out like you're going to run him to the left, but have him stop and throw opposite deep.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for, and I'm like, yeah, what the, you know? So, oh, by the way, Rocky Mountain has more. He says my attention is going to be lost very quickly if there's no excitement in the stadium. Bring on the Jaguars, Jaguar. Anyway, when I think of Mark anymore, I think Mark Davis. Well, okay. When I don't think of Mark Davis in the context of Lamar Jackson. See? Oh, all right, I'm sorry. Will the Chiefs ever beat the Raiders? Nope. I don't think so. The Chiefs have been clobbering the Raiders. Where have you been? You're beating the crap out of us, man. Golly. He says, do you ever think you think the Browns or the Steelers could dominate if the Ravens don't do well? Melissa, your thoughts?
That's just making me laugh. I think the Steelers have a quarterback issue.
Yeah.
Well, they're the team with the quarterback issue because even Ben's supposed to come back, and he is very injury prone. He's been playing for a while, so they got to figure out what they're gonna do. And they had some issues. I can't remember the backup that played, but
Mr. Marshall, not Matt Marshall. What is his name?
Mason. Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph.
Where did I get Mason McDonald from? Right. Mason Rudolph. Yes, he of the helmet swing.
Yes, yes.
Right. He had the helmet on him, swung by to him, right? And he threw a punch back.
Yeah, that
was
entertaining. I mean, I'm glad I'm not involved in any of that, but it was entertaining.
So, and then, and I want to come back to that. Rocky Mountain says, I messed up with my Chiefs comment. Will the Raiders ever beat the Chiefs? Nope, I don't think so. Not 10 years. There you go. Okay. All right. Which he laughs at his own error. Okay, fine. So we're now all caught up. Speaking of which, you were talking about, so you've got other sports in Baltimore. You've got hockey?
No, there's not a hockey team.
Okay. Why did I think so Baltimore has no hockey team, no basketball team, I know.
No.
Soccer?
No.
You're lucky. You don't have much to focus on.
Well, so a lot of Baltimore fans are Caps fans
Mm-hmm.
in
Oh,
hockey. So Caps, yes.
That's
Just
right. Oh,
yeah.
man.
So Caps fan.
Are you a fan of Ted's team?
Yes.
I say, yeah, I call him Ted. Ted Leonsis.
So yes.
How is it? How is Baltimore to live in when you're sheltered? I mean, you don't go out at all. You don't hit the pavement. You don't take a walk. You don't do anything.
I go to the grocery store once a week,
Mhm.
and I run. I run a few times a week. Sometimes I go for a walk, but that's about it. I
Oh,
basically stay in my house.
are people? I gotta ask you: are people when they run? Do they manage? Because we had this problem in Oakland.
Hmm.
Around here, we own all this place, so there's no other nobody. There shouldn't be anybody around. I call the cops. But the whole point is, in your area, do people mind their social distance when you're running?
They tend to. I try to go during times where there be less people. Like now that it's really hot, I try to go early. So there's definitely a lot less people. But people, for the most part, I think they try to be careful. Um, but yeah, I don't see a lot of people, at least right now. I mean, it's pretty hot and I go early, so not a lot of people out.
I got to ask you some NFL related questions here. Dak Prescott failed to get a long term deal with the Cowboys.
Oh,
And
I
is
didn't hear about.
he worth 40 million? Don't worry about that. But is he worth $40 million?
That's a lot of money. I don't know. God, how did
I mean, my thought is that it's not. Excuse me, it's hot up here. I'm in a folks. Where I'm at is I'm in our room here is upstairs. This is where the room. See this? Check this out. Okay, it's not my bedroom. It's a room. It's an office, but it's upstairs. You can tell by the slanted roof. And I'm gonna tear the fan on back here. It is that hot. It must be. It's like, oh, so fortunately the fan is right behind me here. If you can see, there's the fan. Okay, so that's why I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to turn that on right there, and hopefully that makes things feel better. But because it's excruciating. It's like, my gosh. The air conditioning normally works this hard up here, but I gotta. That's better. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you?
Great. Okay. That's. Is that loud?
No.
Oh, okay. I can feel the difference already, but it's like, wow. But, phew, I already feel like a more human person. No, it was so hot. It was so hot that we actually attracted a chubby squirrel. See, it says chubby squirrel. Who's saying thanks for what? Oh, chubby squirrel is saying hello. And I have no idea who Chubby Squirrel is. And but Rocky Mountain Mike, because Chubby Squirrel, Rocky's like, hey Chubby, good to see you. Who the fuck is Chubby Squirrel? What is this? It's like, is this like? So Chubby Squirrel wants to know. Wait, look. Well, Chubby Squirrel, Melissa's favorite team is the Ravens. Did you read the title? Oh, your favorite. I don't know. Chubby Squirrel. Hey, Chubby Squirrel, here's the drill, okay? If you're going to stick around, first of all, you got to know the drill. The drill is to ask questions that are relevant to the subject. We're talking about Baltimore and the Ravens and the Orioles. And obviously his is the Raiders, okay? My favorite team, the Raiders. So there you go, okay? But, you know, he says you're confused. Oh, brother, I think this heat is doing things to our minds. Chubby Squirrel likes the Giants. He says the Giants. Well, wait, the New York Giants, the San Francisco Giants. What Giants? Do you like the Land of the Giants, which is actually a great TV show? Did you ever see the Land of the Giants, Melissa? Okay, so
I've never heard of it.
oh my God, it's the Land of the Giants is this fantastic program from Irwin Allen that came on in the '60s, which I guess shows my age, right? Okay, fine, and it was it was full of it was how would I describe Land of the Giants? Well, you know what? I'm not going to. I'm just going in the interest of the show you this photograph so that you can get some idea of what it looked like. This was Land of the Giants. Boom. Okay. So it was about these people who were like so big. They somehow went into space, came back to Earth, but they wound up small.
Oh.
I don't know how. Like about one of them is about as big as this brick in an iPhone. Okay, that's about 6 feet tall for them. So anyway, be lucky that didn't happen to you. So there you go. All right. Will the Ravens open up their offense this year if we see it, or will they go back to the ground and pound with Lamar? What do you think they might do given what they've done this offseason?
I don't know. I would hope that they would open it up. I would like to see them open it up. They have weapons, use them. And I think they're too predictable with running.
Yeah.
Like, my whole thing is like, even last season, I'm like, teams are going to figure them out. And while a lot of teams didn't actually figure them out, the Titans figured them out. Like you were saying before, talking about like using the same plays. And that's essentially what they did in that game. But the Titans did figure them out. And their defense was that good. So they knew what the Ravens were going to do. And they planned their game plan accordingly. And they were actually the team, all the teams that we could have possibly have played in the first round, or what was it? Not the divisional. I forget what the
that was the first round divisional.
The first round.
The Titans.
And they were the team. Yeah, the Titans were the team that I was the most afraid to play. They were the team. They were the one team that the Ravens hadn't played, and the other teams they had played, and they hadn't played the Titans. And I didn't have a good feeling about the Titans. Their defense is very good, and Tannehill was actually a decent quarterback. So, and what I feared about that game happened.
Wow, I thought the Ravens were going to just clobber them. I was shocked. I'm still shocked.
I knew that they weren't going to clobber them. I thought it might have been a closer game, but I knew that was not going to be an easy game for them.
Yeah. I think for me, and here's folks wondering what we're talking about, there's that game right there, 28-12 with the score. Sorry to show the so it hurts to watch it too. All right. And we see the Titans started off with a touchdown, then added another touchdown in the second quarter. The Ravens scored with, I think, 2 field goals? It was awful.
It's just painful.
Yeah, it was painful. This is more about this. And Ryan Tannehill, 7-14 for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's pedestrian. All right. For the Ravens, Lamar Jackson. Look at that. 31 365. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And then player, if you scroll down, you find that player, this won't move. I don't know why that happens. These doggone websites. Okay, yeah, there it is. Lamar Jackson was the leading rusher. And he only had 140. He had 365 yards in the air, 340 on the ground for 500 yards of total offense. That man put up 500 yards of total offense by himself.
Crazy.
Yeah, and they still lost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what it's like. Which means everyone's talking about Jackson, but the defense didn't do its part.
No.
They just had to stop him.
No. Yeah, we couldn't do that.
They let Derrick Henry roll like he was a man. He's a man.
Oh, he's ridiculous. I mean, he's like a Mack truck just plowing through.
But you take this offensive line and say, you know what? I'm going to take you and you. I'm going to make you defensive tackle, spread it out, dare them to run, and I'm going to dare them to run, and I'm going to make them run. That's it. I'm not going to run at all, period. I would recruit the mafia to stop Derrick Henry. I'm serious. I'd probably find out. I'd call Tom Hardy, bring her out of retirement. Seriously, it's like Tanya, you know what to do. Just saying. We got Rocky Mountain says, playoffs having your starters take 2 weeks off. It was a bad move. And he said that he thought that the Ravens having 2 weeks off was a bad move. He said he watched the game and he was shocked at the end. Chubby Squirrel says, sorry. Chubby Squirrel. Chubby Squirrel says, talk about Baltimore. Mike Vrabel went on a hot streak with the Titans and Henry dominated. You can never figure out the Ravens, especially Jackson. He's so good in the run. Yeah, but see, here's the thing, Chubby. He had 500 yards. He had 300 yards in the air. Don't forget that, okay? Almost 400. Then he says they won't be able to figure out the Ravens. Harbaugh is also genius, and Jackson amazing. Rubin is also line. The Ravens only lost because the Titans got hot at a good time. What do you think about that? That's a good comment. What do you think about that?
I actually agree, and I can't remember. I feel like I had this conversation. I don't remember if I had this conversation with you before. We talked about this before, or if I talked to a friend about this. But that was something that during the playoffs, the Titans actually reminded me a lot of the Ravens. When the Ravens' first Super Bowl season, when they went on the playoff run or the Super Bowl run, and this was a team that no one was picking them from the get-go. Mediocre quarterback, really good defense, and that's essentially that was the Titans this past season. And I mean, because Tannehill, not a great quarterback, but a good quarterback. Can manage the game, but really good defense.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of they flew under the radar. And I mean, they definitely got hot at the right time. And I feel like that's how the Ravens were that season. I mean, they had the 1 month, I forget. I think there was a month where they had no offensive touchdowns that season. I mean, it was they were just they had no offense. I mean, they had a run game. That was it. Then they had maxed over. But essentially, it was the defense that went on the games. And, in the playoffs, the defense is what got them to the Super Bowl that season. So, yeah, I think that the Titans were very similar to that Ravens team. And they definitely got hot at the right time. So, I mean, it hurt, but I kind of understood how they got to where they were, They were a team that I didn't hate. It was okay. Like, it was a little less painful only because I didn't have this
I thought
hate
that,
towards
yeah, I thought that the Titans. First of all, I was really happy to see the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl,
Mhm.
and I would rather have seen a Chiefs Ravens AFC Championship than what we got. Okay,
Mhm.
I felt that. I guess part of the reason, honestly, I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of the Titans style of football.
Mhm.
And that's a real big issue with me. But look, it's football. It is brutally effective. It says, okay, my players are bigger and smarter than yours, and I'm gonna use my obvious strength. So if I have a running back that's as big as a house and can runs like a Lamborghini, I'm gonna use it. If I got an offensive line full of people that are look like trucks, I'm gonna run behind them. You know, if I got a quarterback who is slightly above average, but is mobile in the pocket and big enough to see over my big lineman, I'm going to start him. That's Ryan Tannehill.
Mhm.
And that's what they did. I mean, as infuriating as that Ravens game was for you guys, I will tell you the game that I felt was infuriating. Hold on a second. Let me turn this off for a second. It's cooler in here. But the that's good. Okay. But the game that I was really infuriating for me was when the Titans came to the Coliseum and the Raiders actually blew the Raiders out of the stadium. And it was another combination of the Raider game plan that was awful, but also the Raiders were not ready for AJ Brown, the Titans wide receiver, who was the rookie.
Mhm.
And so the Titans have the ball in the fourth quarter on their own 6. And the Raiders just missed Tannehill, who threw this 94-yard bomb to was a catch to Brown. And
Mhm.
that was the only great catch Brown had that day. He torched the Raiders. And that was to me the season that AJ Brown, his rookie season, everybody said, "Who is this?" Wait, he was with who? Ohio State. You never watched Ohio State on television? Hello. And they would just let him run free.
Mhm.
I don't think the Titans are going to be sneaking up on anybody this year, but I think that when the Ravens prepare, I think Lamar Jackson made you guys lazy. What I mean by that is it's like, oh, we got this stud at quarterback, so we don't really quite need to think about these other parts of our game as much. It's like somehow it'll pull through. And I'm not saying that they actually went into a game like that, but spiritually, it felt like there was some of that. It wasn't this team thing where we have a tradition of coming back.
Mhm.
You know, it's like the team is still trying to figure out who and what it really is, and it hasn't done that yet. It's like, okay, we've got Lamar,
Mhm.
but then that wasn't quite enough.
Right.
You know,
Now I see what you're saying.
yeah. It's like let me explain as a model I'm thinking about the 49ers with Joe Montana, Bill Walsh coach, Montana of course a quarterback, Jerry Rice, before him Freddie Solomon at wide receiver, Dwight Clark for both, Russ Francis at tight end, and running the Bill Walsh offense when they played at Candlestick, which has since been demolished. There was of course, you can imagine a team without Joe Montana because Bill Walsh did. He brought in Steve Young and George Seifert. But the bottom line is there was a 49er ethic of how to win. And all the way down to what types of plays to call, if you're backed up, down with 4 minutes left, and you're facing a prevent defense, rather than throw into the prevent defense, you do what Walsh did. He ran into it. He quite literally ate 4 minutes on the clock, and then they scored. That was the 1981 NFC Championship game. But I don't see the Ravens exhibiting that kind of thinking. It's like, we've got Lamar! Exclamation point.
Yeah, I think I think they're still going through or kind of adjusting to having an offense. Like, the team, it was defense heavy for so long. And then, it was Flacco was a good quarterback. He wasn't great. It was sort of like regular season.
But was he an elite quarterback?
I don't know. Although I saw something recently, and I don't remember, but it was interesting. It was talking about the numbers, his stats compared to other quarterbacks, and like according to these stats, people would like categorize him as elite just because of his stats. I don't. I hate this. Elite. I don't think that I wouldn't categorize him as elite, but he got the job done for at least for a while. Like, and he won a Super Bowl, so it was like, that's all great. But then it's having Lamar. I think like the identity of the team has sort of changed. Like it's sort of in flux.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been trying to beef up the defense again. So in this offseason, but now it's like, okay, the offense like really need to ramp that up more, like, and utilize Lamar like in other way. Like, don't just run the ball every time. And I think that's the goal, that's the hope, but we'll see. This whole pandemic is just, I feel like we don't know what it'll be. Like, there's too many question marks. And this is like for all teams, but it's like not having any like rookie camps, no OTAs, no mini camps, not being able to work out at the facilities. I wonder how all of that will affect team, like the players. I worry about injuries. Like, are they more injury prone because they haven't been able to do all that? And then even like assuming that training camp does start, what would that look like?
Yep.
Because that's going to be totally different. They're not going to be able to do the same things. So it's like, how do you practice when you're doing less
Mm-hmm.
than you would even normally do in training camp? So I don't know. And then how does that translate into a game? They're going to have less preseason games.
Or no.
Or not. Oh, really?
Yeah, the NFLPA had taken a preliminary vote. They weren't going to have games. Let me see real quick if any
that I hadn't heard about.
Yeah, change on that. That was
wow, that would make things even more interesting.
2020. Yeah. 2020 preseason. It would be uncharted because I could see teams like the Buccaneers being at a huge disadvantage. Like for example, here's an article right here from NewJersey.com, calls itself True Jersey. What does that mean, True Jersey? Is that like being True Baltimore? I just wonder. But at any rate, here it is. It says the NFLPA wants to eliminate the NFL's preseason, has concerns about opening training camp in COVID-19 hotspots, and here's why. And so it says real quick, it says the general counsel of the NFLPA, Tom DePasso, said on Zoom call with agents on Wednesday, person familiar with the call told AJ Advanced Media. DePasso cited current situations in California, Arizona, Texas, Florida, Louisiana, and to a lesser extent, Tennessee and Georgia. My God, just wait until they add Nevada. we,
Right.
we see that it is. We see that we have new hotspots around the country. We all see it. The Paso. These are all places where our players will be asked to return to start training camp, and to that end, we are obviously very concerned. The league is meeting with medical experts to meet and discuss whether return in those areas will be safe. The NFLPA is also pushing for no preseason games, while the league continues to push for a 2 preseason game schedule. No clear reasoning for having them, DePasso told agents on Wednesday's call. A dry run for regular season game is really not good enough for putting a player at risk. The players understand they are at high risk and they want to mitigate it as much as they can. They understand they can't eliminate it, but they feel it is not worth it for those preseason games. The most important part of the season are the regular season games and playoff games. Other topics discussed including possible reduced training camp rosters, proposed masks being used on helmets. That's a good idea. Whether COVID-19 will be viewed as a football injury, as well as player opt-outs. And so there's some more takeaways here from that. Training camp won't start until every team submits their plan for training camp to the league and NFLPA, and it is approved. And what's today? Today is July.
Wow. Sorry.
Time's
flying. Camp is supposed to start like the end of the month.
Yeah, time's flying.
So, yeah.
It's like they're dragging. I mean, they should have done that by now. Don't you think they would have?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. That doesn't make any sense. That's well, I've been like just not really believing that any of this is going to happen because I just don't see how it's going to happen, and that kind of just reinforces.
As I say, wait, there's more. Let's see. Today, we haven't received those back yet. That's what DePasso said, talking about the training camp plan. It's July 15th. What are they waiting for?
Wow.
All the freeze over? This is hilarious. Until then, players can't return to facilities in groups greater than 20. Then there's a chance training camp rosters are reduced. Reports have indicated they could go from 90 to 80 players, maybe less. And, quote, there are pros and cons, said DePasso, but we're living in a pandemic. He told NJ Advanced Media, there's a good case to be made for fewer players being brought to training camp. It cuts down on interaction, less people, less risk, less people, less risk, less practice, less, quality of play. I just added that. Then he says the NFL unveiled a mouth shield designed to place on helmets with an eye toward mitigating the spread of the coronavirus in the field of play. NFL, they distributed those to all 32 teams. DePasso said told agents that the NFLPA is pushing to allow players to test those shields out in training camp before any decision to implement them during games is made. Yeah, that's a logical thing. We need players to try them in training camp and then decide whether to use them. NFL hosts free agent players at their facility during the season for workouts to determine if they want to sign them. That could look different in 2020. That's up to the league, DePasso said, but if players are being hosted at facilities for workouts, the teams will have to make sure the players who work out are safe, coronavirus free, and taking all precautions that the players already at the facility won't be exposed to undue risk. Good luck with that. There's also the possibility teams, you know what, Melissa? They need a bubble. They need they need a bubble. They need a bubble in every town. Every town needs a bubble. Is this a mess or what?
Yeah, but even the bubble isn't like
perfect.
The bubble, yeah, there's can be issues with the bubble. And there's already issues with the NBA bubble.
Yeah, see, there you go. By the way, Chubby Squirrel has some. Chubby Squirrel says this is probably about Vrabel. Mike Vrabel is the only person in the Patriots history who rivals Belichick in football knowledge. Both of them grew up around football. Vrabel knew something that Belichick did not when he beat him. What do you think about that?
I loved it. That game. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was a good game.
It was like watching a chess match, like having like going head to head. But one person knowing the one thing to make the move to win the game.
Exactly. Yeah, and I like that he sort of took a dig at him football wise. You know, I'm sure Belichick hasn't forgotten. I like Bill. Bill's a cool guy. Then he says, trust me, if football is like chess, then Belichick can outplay everyone. Not me, though. Not me. He hasn't faced me yet. The fact that Vrabel beat him in the playoffs shows you his true intelligence. Yeah, okay. And so he says, the Ravens did not fully rely on Lamar. The way the team was playing as a collective unit, they would have won the Super Bowl if the Titans did not outplay them one time. What do you think about that?
I think, well, it's like that game just drives me crazy because I felt like, yeah, if they had won that game and had gone on, if they would have played Kansas City, well, that would have been a really tough game.
Yeah.
They would have had a chance. And the Chiefs had beat them the last 2 times. So I'm like, I was like hopeful that if they matched up again or met up again in the playoffs, that the Ravens would be able to win that game. But I don't. It's like we'll never.
I think you guys ought to get on a 3-4 and go to a 4-3 myself. I mean, I don't. The 3-4s never served them well. You have to keep coming back to it. They didn't win a Super Bowl with a 3-4. They won a Super Bowl with a 4-3. Although, I don't know what this is. I mean, that's a very simplistic way of looking at it. I was deliberately trying to avoid out of interest of time because we're almost, up. But I was trying to think, hey, I'll go to Chubby Squirrel. Chubby Squirrel says the Ravens can run the ball as much as possible. If something works, then don't stop doing it. But Chubby Squirrel, it didn't work against the Titans. Okay, so no, don't piss me off. Oh my God, I hate that. Oh, some works don't, bro. All right.
Yeah, it did not work.
Right. Right. Then he says football is a game that has transformed over the past 10 years. The league has transitioned from pocket passers to mobile QBs. Yes, quite true. Melissa, it is 10:30, and I don't want to put you past your bedtime.
I'm good. I mean, I can stay on a little longer, or if you like, you're.
Okay, cool. All right, cool, awesome. So, having said all that, how is your mayor handling the coronavirus situation?
I mean, he's been really like things were very slow, like opening up. Like Maryland had gone into like phase 1 and phase 2, but counties and Baltimore City could decide for themselves when they would reopen. And Baltimore City was actually very slow to like reopen, which I was fine with. Like I saw no reason to rush. I mean, a lot of people that were unhappy because they really wanted things to reopen, but I was nervous that if things reopen too fast, then it's like you'd rush things and then you wind up taking steps backwards, which happened in several states. And so, like, I worried about that. I'm happy that it was slow moving. So I think he's done an okay job. But, a lot of people who have the opposite opinion. But it's like I would rather it be slow and people like stay healthy, or have a greater chance of staying healthy. But even the places that wound up having to close, like employees, like bars and restaurants, but like an employee would test positive, and so they closed down, do a thorough cleaning. So I mean, there's no guarantee about anything. Like even taking all the precautions, you just don't know like what will happen.
No, that's the thing. It's well, how's your diet? Are you taking anything special to keep yourself healthy, or?
No, I mean I eat very clean.
Yeah.
And
Wait, just clean eating. I've never heard. I should have more shows about food. What is the definition of clean eating? I mean, I hear it all the time. I want to know that I'm doing it. Does it mean you wash your kale every morning? I mean, what does it mean? What is it clean eating?
The way I define it is that I eat a lot of like fresh fruits and vegetables. I don't really eat a lot of processed foods. Don't eat junk food. Just like trying to eat very healthy.
Like processed foods are canned spinach.
No, like
So Popeye's safe. Okay.
like chips. I don't know, like things that are higher in salt, sugar, in that come in a box. Yeah, it's like if it's not grown, it's man-made, and there's a lot of things that are added to it to make it taste really good. So you want to eat it, but it also makes it very bad for you.
Certain candy bars, that sort of
thing.
I haven't had a candy bar in ages. Oh my God, I forgot what a candy bar tastes like.
Yeah, I haven't had it in a while either.
Now, chocolate ice cream, on the other hand, I was going to have some later tonight. Just because it's so hot up here. It's like, oh. Okay. What kind of background do you have, by the way?
Oh, that's just my wall.
Oh, so it's not like a Zoom background or like a...
No, it's speckled. It looks like a background because it's my light. My dining room light is like, it has all these openings.
Oh, yeah.
Make that effect.
Oh, cool. Okay. It's not like this. I got this one shining. It looks like that light there is that thing. There. And then there's another lamp which is over here. There. And there's the lamp from the computer. So they all kind of conspire. But no, it's weird because here we had like 14 deaths, but they're all in nursing homes. We just got, I think around here, like we're in and where we eat healthy. It's just that we had thunderstorm here, and I think what it is all the reports of death. And as I was saying to Mom, it just seems like people don't seem to care that people are dying anymore. And at least from a media standpoint, they just talk about them like, oh, so many deaths. Oh, so many deaths. Well, those are people. It's like this slow descent into, I don't know, hell. I don't know where we're going. It feels like we're descending into a place that the Lord needs to lift us from. If you're of a mind to believe in the Lord, and I am, that's me. But it's just this, and I keep saying, what did we do to get ourselves in this position? But I'm sure the people who went through the last plague asked themselves the same question.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing. I laugh because they didn't have all the stuff that we have to, one, stay informed, two, keep us occupied. Like, But I don't know. Maybe back then ignorance might have been bliss, like because they weren't connected all the time. Maybe not knowing might have been better. Sometimes I have like information overload. Like I have to limit how much news I watch. I like to stay informed, but it also will stress me out. And so I have to limit because it's just then I'll start worrying about everything.
Yeah, and that's what you don't want to do. That's the thing. It's so it's take one day at a time. That's what you have to do.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, it's like we're in a situation, we can't do anything about it. It's out of our control. None of us like it. I mean, none of us are happy, but it's like you said, we have to take it one day at a time. That's all we can do. But it's still really hard. And I think it's also hard because we're constantly living in the present. Like we don't have anything to look forward to. I mean, plans, like you can't really make plans. So it's like normally you would have things to look forward to. Plans for friends or trips or whatever. And now there's nothing. I mean, you can't do anything. And so that's really a hard thing.
Yeah. I was even talking about with my mom about she wanted to go to I think she wanted to go to Canada of all places. I was thinking, and I okay, but why? And then, if you can't go out in Canada either, what's the point of going?
Right. And I don't even know if you can. I thought it was still
were we banned from them too?
We're pretty much banned from everywhere. I think we're still banned from there.
Oh my Lord.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and what the other hope, the only hope is there's this company that has this vaccine going through clinical trials that some believe has a hope. I saw one of the spokespersons on CNN. I forgot. It's like not in Movado.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name.
But it has some they were saying it had side effects, but I'm thinking, well, they never said which side effects there were. Like, okay, so are you just saying that just to say you're a journalist? And I don't know. Okay.
I mean, there can be side effects. You get a flu vaccine, and there can be some side effects, or some people might have reactions to it, but it's like you don't know until you get it.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't want to get it.
Right.
Do you know anybody who's gotten it?
Yeah. Coronavirus?
Yeah.
Yes. I do know people. I'm sorry?
How are they doing?
They're doing okay. I mean, I think for the most part, some of the people have had the classic symptoms, like the losing your sense of smell and taste. I mean, I know someone who asymptomatic, tested positive, no symptoms. And then some other people who have had some more issues with breathing, like the breathing was hard, like having a heavy chest, and then just feeling really awful. Like it's. But the thing is, even with the coronavirus, it's like it seems like everyone is different. You just don't know how it's going to affect you.
Right.
So, and you could be someone who has it and has no symptoms, which I think is even scarier.
Yeah, like we both have blood type O.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically, we're less susceptible. It doesn't mean we won't get it, but on the other hand, we haven't been out. She especially hasn't. We have had people over, like this person over that they check on the roof, but I think they stepped in for maybe a second.
Mm-hmm.
Mom had her mask on. I was a long way away after checking, on this person in the door.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have a full complement of society around us. The closest person to us is what, an eighth of a mile away.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that's across it's up our yard and then across the street and then through their yard. And our yard alone, from our house to the street, it's about an eighth of a mile. Yeah. That's a good hike. And that's just one. So we are we're a ways from people. And that's keeps us safe.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps us safe. And we eat well. So I mean, by what you said about eating clean, Mom eats clean for the most part. There's sometimes no, she eats pretty clean.
Mm.
Yeah, she eats pretty clean. So it's just, I know, and people watching, I think it doesn't matter what your stripe is. The guy in the White House has got to stop fooling around with this country. And I don't understand why we allow, to me, this is a matter of party. This is a matter of competence.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've had great, competent presidents who are Republican. We've had great, competent presidents. Obviously, the one before this guy, Obama, was really great. But now people are just sort of settled in. It's almost like we're letting him do this. And I know part of it's the virus, but he could pump out money to businesses and make it easier to close. I mean, it's great to close when you have 100,000 in your account,
Mm-hmm.
or even a few thousand, right? Rather than, gee, that's my last grand, and that's going to be sewn up. Or have accidents happen, like a friend of mine. I'm not going to name her business in Oakland, but closed down her place, and then all of a sudden gets a water bill. Her water bill is normally $1,000 a month.
Mm.
It was $10,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Why? Because the water main broke while it was closed. Now, how that happens, I don't know. But as I say, stuff happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to be able to have enough money to deal with that.
Right.
It doesn't. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I know. Well, that's like I had to. It was, yeah, I have to limit how much news I watch because I start to lose my mind.
Oh no, we have to get something funny. You have to watch George Carlin or something like that.
That's why I was like, I gotta start watching, like, I'm trying to engage my brain more. So like watching documentaries, just, or mindless TV. I I gotta tune out sometimes. I can't take it.
How's that? Are you lifting more weights than usual? Or are you?
Yeah. No, I'm not doing any weights.
Yeah. Might help you. I don't know. I try to do it.
No, I probably need a punching bag.
See, like I said, you should do weights.
A punching bag might help. Yeah.
But no, it's I don't know the way out. No, I do. We have to get the president to set the tone for the country. That's the way out. The president has.
You wouldn't even wear a mask. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
I don't get.
Right. Wear a mask. Announce a $2 trillion program for targeted at restaurants and hospitality, because that's the weakest sectors, or do the most. And give more money to the PPP program and extend it so that people can draw from it if they need more of it. I think that they designed it thinking that this whole problem is going to last over a month.
Right.
You know, it was like, oh, it'll be gone. Like.
He just, it was going to just disappear. It was going to be done.
Yeah.
But even like schools, he's threatening to like stop funding because he wants the schools to reopen.
Hey,
but like, who's going to pay? I mean, a teacher, let's just say a teacher gets it from students and then can't work. And then what if that teacher needs to be hospitalized?
Yes.
Costs a lot of money, out of work. I mean, there's just a lot of things that could happen.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, we have another person's this old helmet says, I like President Harris and his 30 days were awesome. Okay. Then you can just put the water back instead of paying the $10,000. Okay. The problem with lifting weights is that you can never get them even. I don't know. Do you know what this?
No.
Oh my God. I'll tell you what, let's finish this conversation offline. And folks, we will be back later tonight to look at the Las Vegas Stadium Authority's very bad news about its finances. I'll return at 11:45 with a new show. I just need to cool off because it's hot up here. Woo. Melissa, stick around. Thank you. All right. Remember, 11:45. We'll see you all later. Okay.